I don't know if Mr. Floth will be here. Can't tell you that. I don't know if Mr. Floth will be here. I'm sorry. Do you need a big straw or small straw? Whatever works. It's just the straw is just one way to kind of act like a pipette. Remember when we did bird beaks? We kind of were able to suck things up and move it. All right. That's what we're aiming for. Okay. That's what we're aiming for. Just to make your life a little bit easier. I'm going to use an actual medicine cup, so that will make things just different. All right. It's not a stress. It's no big deal. It's not a problem how you decide to do that. Okay. Oh, Mr. Floth is here. Hello, Mr. Floth. Good to see me. All right. Anyway, so what we're going to start with today, ladies and gentlemen, is we are going to talk about this. And usually we do this in the classroom where you guys actually have a plastic, like a food service glove. If you can get a hold of one of those, great. Okay. Don't waste a really nice, like non-latex glove for this. The other problem with that is, if you know the nitrile gloves, they're usually a bluish or greenish color, and it won't let light in very well. We need to make sure that some light can get in there for our activity, because we need to be able to test this. Okay, so here's the materials. If you have it, great. If you don't, no sweat. So if we were in the classroom, and I kind of treat it more like that, we would be talking about our glove garden. I like this activity because it kind of shows you how things go. Now, Mr. Floth already did next week's activity, which is the bottle biome, which is great, but that's going to be a way for you to do things. All right. But we're looking at the question, do you actually need soil to have a plant grow? If you're a seed, do you actually need light, and do you need water? So we can have fun with this, and you don't have to answer the question right away, guys. You really don't have to, okay? When we look at this, okay, I need to get a new poll here going. Check this out. Let me get this going. This is fun. I can do this. All right. Type your question here. Do seeds need soil to, I'm going to use this word. Yes, no. All right. So I'm going to be using the word germinate. Okay. We probably haven't talked about that yet, and that's okay. When I mean germinate, I mean a seed is going to go from its seed state to producing a tiny baby plant. Okay. It breaks through the seed coat. We showed a lot of different seeds last week. Most of these are tree seeds. We use a lot of different seeds to grow plants or to eat things. A lot of times we eat a lot of seeds, okay? Peanuts are the seeds that have been boiled and salted and roasted of the peanut plant. If you were to actually find an actual peanut plant, it would be kind of a weird, soft, squishy thing. It only is when we boil it, roast it, and make it taste delicious. We'll get there. Okay? So, rice is a seed that we can use, all of those things. Peas are seeds. When we talk about life cycles, we talk about things that grow and develop. So, I want to start here. I've kind of gone over what germinating is. The question is, do we need soil to germinate our seeds? Go ahead and vote. Do you need soil to germinate seeds? Do I have to plant it in dirt, or can I plant it somewhere else? If you can't vote, it's not the end of the world. It should show up. It should show up, but it might not. It kind of depends. Oh, I think I just broke it. I broke it. Why would it not submit? I don't know. Sometimes it doesn't quite work. So I'm going to go ahead and end it. All right. So it looks like there's a 60-40 split. 60-40, 60% of it. Yeah. I'm not sure why we can't vote. Some people can, some people can't. It works sometimes. It works. It doesn't always work. Sometimes it's really, really, really tricky. Okay. Sometimes it's just a pain to get things going. Okay. There's not much I can do about it. So maybe it cut that stream. That's okay. If it did, it did. If it didn't, it did. Not a problem. Okay. So I'm going to close that for now. All right. When we look at it, okay, 60% of you think that we need soil for seeds to grow. 40% of you say no. Now, when we think about it, I need to think about, can I throw seeds basically anywhere and will it grow and develop into something? Okay. That's what I need to think about. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to build an experiment around it. I had to think there for a second. Okay. Because when we start with our plant, again, we start by developing a root, which is our anchor, and it's going to grow and develop into an adult plant. And in order for us to produce new plants, we have to have pollination, which happens to happen by birds or wind, but mainly our friends, the bees. So stop squishing the bees. Okay. I love this picture. That is a bee covered in pollen. Okay. That pollen creates new seeds that we can regrow again. So here is our cycle. We germinate, we grow, we flower, we produce fruit. Now, fruit is not always a sweet fruit. Okay. Fruit is not always a sweet fruit. Okay. Fruits are kind of weird. Okay. Fruits are kind of weird. Because fruit, by definition, we always think of sweet, but that's not true. Okay. Fruits are just things that have seeds in them. Technically, by definition, tomatoes are fruits. By definition, pea pods with peas on the inside are fruits. Beans, like green beans, have seeds on the inside. They're technically a fruit. Okay, a walnut has a seed inside. By definition, it's a fruit. It's weird we don't think of that, but they're fruits. An almond is the seed of the almond tree, which is a fruit. It's a flowering tree. Okay. What's another? Like peanut plants. They grow, they develop. The seeds on the inside are what we eat. We eat sunflower seeds. Okay. Actually, we don't eat the outside. We eat the kernel on the inside. So the fruit is actually the sunflower seed. On the inside is the kernel, which is the seed that we eat on the inside. And now your brain's hurt. And that's good. So if this was a fruit, okay, take a look. I have all these seeds inside here, right? I have a plastic bag. My plastic bag here is my fruit by science definition, not culinary. That's different. This is a fruit because seeds are on the inside. Got it? Maybe? I'll give you a moment to kind of think about that. If you run into a thought process or a question on that, let me know. I'm going to give you a second to process that one more time. This is a fruit because it is a structure, a part that contains seeds. Structure contains seeds. So there you go. Now your concept of reality is completely broken because green beans are a fruit, not a vegetable. Peas are seeds, not a vegetable. Corn, an ear of corn, is actually a fruit because when you pull the husks back and you're shucking corn, all of those little kernels are the seeds contained on the inside of the ear of corn. and brains all across ESU5 are exploding. I can smell the noxious gases leaking out of your brains because they are now officially hurting so much. You're welcome. Now that I've destroyed your concept of reality, you're welcome. How many of you are honestly completely lost and going, holy cow, my brain hurts? How many are going, I'm no longer going to eat my vegetables? Because you technically can't eat your vegetables because, honestly, I'll tell you this, vegetables are made up. It was a way to get around fruit taxes in the 1800s. The vegetable definition was a way for companies to skirt taxation and import taxes. Don't believe me? Look it up. It's a law from like the late 1800s. Search tomato import taxes and definition of fruit, and that's how they changed it, and they got around the law. So the ketchup companies and the tomato companies could import fruits from Central America, or the tomatoes from Central America, and didn't have to pay taxes and inspections as a fruit because tomatoes were a vegetable. Let that sink in. And the moment's gone. Now that everybody's laughing on the inside and thinking about it, don't try. I will say, you can try to argue it with your parents. Do not say because Patrick said so. No, you better be able to argue it on your own, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, that you don't have to eat your vegetables. But any good parent, ladies and gentlemen, will be able to only able to argue that. So I think I accidentally shut off your guys' chat there. Sorry, guys. Okay. Before we go on, I'm going to take a moment or two here. Do you have questions about that? Things you need cleared up? Because I'm sure there's a lot of them. Your brain's probably hurt. All right. I can't solve all of the world's problems. I can only give you enough information. Coleslaw is not a fruit. Coleslaw is a combination of shredded leaves, which is cabbage, and carrots, which are shredded roots. Drake, don't worry. We'll get you the things you need here in a little bit, okay? We'll get you those things. Broccoli is not a fruit. You are actually eating the stems and the little tiny flowers on the top. They're actually little tiny flowers. It's not a tree. Instead of egg cartons, can you use cups? Sure, absolutely. Use plastic cups. I actually have been growing a lot of things in plastic cups downstairs. Where would you guys info about what stuff? How are some foods not vegetables? Okay, great question. That comes down to how do you define fruits and vegetables? Okay, the term vegetable is a cooking term. Okay, in fact, it was brought up as a way, and yes, you can research this, it was brought up as a way for sellers of green produce, beans, peas, spinach, broccoli, a way to promote it and actually sell it by saying it's good for you. Those things that we eat, like broccoli and peas and spinach, actually have a lot more packed in nutrients than what we consider fruits. Fruits we have always associated with being sweet. Okay, it comes down to the definition of cooking versus not cooking. For scientists, I don't use it. It blows your, yeah. Okay. Carrots are not a fruit. Okay, carrots are not a fruit. They're actually a root. Okay. What's a cooking term? Just any cooking term. Okay, a word that we use in cooking, like dicing and mincing, sautéing. Carrots are not fruits. Again, yeah, carrots are a root vegetable. They're a root. They come from underground like an onion. Peppers, fruits, seeds on the inside. Rhubarb, you're actually eating the stems. Okay, you're actually eating the stems because they come up and they leaves. Okay, celery, you're eating the stems. So you have to think about your parts that you're actually eating. Lettuce, you're eating leaves. Spinach, you're eating leaves. I know there's a ton of these, and I could go on forever on these, but we're going to sit and we'll analyze it to that. So think about the parts of the plant. It's either roots, it grows underground, or a tube, like a bulb or something, like an onion or a potato. So that's kind of a root. Okay, you're eating stems. Okay, stems are the long, tall, skinny green parts. So that would be rhubarbs, asparagus, celeries, some parts of broccolis. I'm trying to think of other stems you might eat. Okay, you could be eating leaves, which would be your cabbages, your lettuces, kale, spinaches. Sometimes you eat the flower parts. Okay, the flower parts are like your broccolis you tend to eat. Cauliflower, you're eating the flower parts, or you're eating the actual fruit or the seeds. Okay, so fruits would be things like peppers, tomatoes, green beans, because they have the seed on the inside, or you're eating the seed itself, like peas, corn seeds. No, asparagus are not fruit, they're a stem. Okay, and yes, corn seed, yes, will actually grow to corn stalk, and animals are not fruits because we don't usually eat the internal organs. Honeysuckle is a vining flowering plant. So zucchini, think about it. Where are the seeds? Think about the seeds. Where are the seeds in the zucchini? Are they on the outside, inside? They're on the inside of what they do, which is fruit. Eggplant, where are the seeds? When you cut open an eggplant, seeds are where? Inside, it's technically fruit. So we can sit there and play, is a mayonnaise an instrument? Is all that? Think about where do you find it? If you cut it open and find seeds on the inside, it's definition in science a fruit. So let's set this up for everybody so we know what's going on with our glove guard. Now, if this were Derek, okay, way back in the day, Derek used to be a science guy, okay? If you look at this, a long time ago, he set this up with cotton balls with multiple different types. I like that setup, but not really. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a fair test, okay? Meaning we keep everything the same, except we're going to change one thing. Okay, we're going to change just one thing. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to keep everything the absolute same I can, except the only difference is I want to figure out if my plants actually need soil. So I have half an egg carton here. Okay, I just cut it in half with a pair of scissors. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Some people ask, could you use plastic cups? Sure. Could you use paper cups, like little Dixie cups like this? Can you use these? Sure, they'll work just fine. It doesn't matter what you grow them in, as long as we keep our experiment the same. Okay, let me say that again. As long as we keep our experiment the same, we will figure out if seeds absolutely need soil to grow. Okay. So here we go. When we look at this, I'm going to use marigolds. Okay, so I'm just going to use these. I have a whole bunch of them sitting around. Calendula, they're all kind of in the same. So I've got all of these marigold seeds, all right, ready to go. They're all in here ready to go. And I have set up 6 different things ready to go. Okay, I have 6 different soil types. Okay, 6 different soil types. All right. What you can do is pick what you want to try to grow it in. You could try soil versus something else. What I did is this. Here's what I came up with. Okay, this is my selection. Okay, I've got some rocks, just some tiny pea gravel, because I'm working on building a patio. Actually, I have to replace it because they dug out my sewer line, which went right under the patio. I had 3/4 of the way done, and now I'm back there. So I have some pebble or some pea gravel. Any rocks work. I picked up some sand. It's not the greatest sand in the world, but it works. I've got some actual soil here. Okay. I have a cotton ball here. I kind of pulled apart my cotton ball. You could leave it all together. I've got some stuff that looks like dirt. I'm going to turn the light on back behind here so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. It's not really soil. It's actually kind of like peat moss. It's the stuff that when you get it wet, it actually expands. Okay. So this stuff will actually grow and expand when you get it wet, and when it dries out, it shrinks. It's actually kind of coconut husk. Okay, they use it for growing things. And then just for fun, because we were using glitter on Monday with 3rd graders, I have a pile of glitter right here. Yeah, glitter, because I couldn't think of a good 6th one. I was trying to find some like small plastic beads. I didn't have any plastic beads. I've got some really annoyingly bright glitter. So I've got a wide range of things. So what I will do is this. I'm going to try to have the same amount of each. Okay, I've got a little bit more than others. And just to make sure that this works, you might want to consider using pea seeds. Work really well for this. Okay, you could grab corn from the field. You could grab corn from wherever. It will work. Okay, grass seed works fine for this. Anything you happen to have nearby. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a couple. I'm using 2. The reason I'm using 2 is just to make sure that we get some growth, because I don't know how good these seeds actually are. And I'm going to try to make sure that I bury them equally deep every time. Okay, I want to make sure that I have them equally deep, right? Okay, I don't want anyone deeper than the other. Okay, that will help. I probably need more glitter, but I don't want to waste too much of it. I don't want to get yelled at. Okay, that's in there. I'm gonna bury it in the glitter last, because that's gonna get stuck on my fingers and that's gonna be scary. Okay, put a couple in there. Mix that up on there. Okay, so did I plant everything at the same depth? Yes, I did. Did I plant, or did I use about the same? That's fine. Those of you who have to go, you can go ahead and go. It's no big deal. You don't have to tell me. It's not a problem. I understand. Okay. I just picked a time. It's okay. And I have this set basically about the same depth for every single one of these. Okay. It's not perfect. It's not perfect. Okay. It's pretty close. All right. Make sure they're all down in there. Make sure that's in there. There we go. Okay. So now I have everything ready to go. The next thing I need to do is, do I want to add the same amount of water to each one of these? And the answer would be you bet, because if I add more water here than another, well, I'm going to be changing my experiment, and that's not fair. So I'm going to use a little medicine measuring cup. Okay, so I've got a little medicine measuring cup. That's fine. I'm going to use 5 milliliters of water, because that's just going to be actually, you know what? That's way too much. I'm going to use 2.5. I'm going to use 2.5 because look at that. That's 2.5 and it's flooding everything. So I'm going to use 2.5. And that will be plenty. And that's about how much is it in one pipette. So I'm going to add that there. Looks pretty good. Here. And you're going to see what's going to happen here. Try to get that down in that rock there. Okay, add it here. Then to the last one, I'm always doing the glitter glass because glitter makes me very nervous. Okay, and now I am ready to go. I am going to close this up. If you're confused, okay, if you're confused, here's what's going. All right, yep, I'll get you here in a little bit, Mr. Floss. So here's what we did. What I did is I chose 6 different things. I've got soil as one of them. This is my control because we know for the most part, seeds grow in soil. But do we know if seeds will grow in something that is made out of like coconut husks? Will seeds grow in sand? Okay. Will seeds grow in rocks? Okay. Will seeds grow in a cotton ball? Okay. And will seeds grow in a pile of glitter? We don't know. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually end up closing this up. I've got a little bit of airflow in here. I might put, if we actually had a glove, we would actually blow some air in it and seal it and leave it alone. What I'm going to do, I'm going to poke a few air holes in the top just to make it fair for everybody. All right. And what I will then do is I am going to put this in a warm spot. It could be in the sun, but it doesn't have to be. Okay, you can try that. So we'll see what happens. And actually, I'm going to grow this and let this grow for a week. I'm going to help it. I'm going to put a heating pad underneath of it. It's not necessarily the safest, but I'm going to do it because that's my own fault. Ooh, somebody says cactus grow in sand, so seed should grow in sand. Well, we'll see that. So what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to skip over here. I got to find you there, Mr. Flaw. I have lost you. There you are. Okay, so I'm going to unmute you, cancel that, and I'm going to spotlight you. So there you go, Mr. Floth. You are live.
Hi, guys. So something similar that we did at Freeman with a similar experiment, but we changed the variable, is the variable that we're doing today with Patrick is type of dirt or type of material that we're growing the seed in. What we did here is we did an experiment with growing seed, and I'll put it down here. And we did it with amount of water. So our variable was water instead of soil. So pot A here was 50 milliliters of water every day. You'll notice that we have seed, but it's very sparse, not very dense at all. Cup B, this ended up being a much better product. This was 25 milliliters of water every day. Cup C was 50 milliliters of water every other day. And cup D is 50 milliliters of water 1 time per week. Then cup E was our control group, and it was no water added to the pot. So, so my 3 boys here and I have been doing this, and for their classes, they just planted seeds in their 3rd grade and kindergarten class and pre-K here. So they are all have been doing their own, and they've got germination going on. But this variable of amount of water was what we decided to do. And so our results show that the 50 milliliters of water every day actually flooded out the water. It was too much water. There's actually water dripping from the bottom of this container right now. And honestly, I haven't watered these in 3 days now. So I had kind of stopped the experiment on Monday. And so what that's done is the grass has actually grown a little better once it's dried out, and some of that moisture was able to evaporate out of there. But clearly with our results, the 50, 25 every day and the 50 every other day gave us the primary results we'd be looking for. And the no water once a week and every day did not give us what we wanted. So that was some interesting results out of this experiment, similar. So
Awesome.
You can
Thanks,
mute me back up because my yahoos are going to be
Hi.
loud.
That's okay. All right, guys. So some people have said they need to get going. That's fine. We're basically done. So in this experiment, we have set it so that the only difference is in ours is we made all the soil types different. We added the same amount of growing conditions, light, what it's growing and all that stuff. The only thing we've changed is what is it growing in. We kept the water the same. So when you're looking at this, there are so many different things that you can do. How you set up this experiment is up to you. I've given you an example. I've given you some thought process, given you some examples. It's now up to you to take it and do this. Right now it's prime germination season, so you can get your plants ready to go. Most of the time when you want to plant somewhere around Mother's Day, which is in about 2 to 3 weeks. I've got a lot of seedlings going. They'll probably be ready to transplant in about 2 to 3 weeks outside before the danger of frost and freezing gets over. So with that is where we are. We're going to see what happens. I want you to make a prediction right now and write it down mentally. We'll come back to it next week. And then next week, we need to get ready for our bottle biome. So what we need to do, number one,